Regardless of what anyone says on the internet, don't risk your health to go see Bloodshot or any film. In fact, what you should do is just barricade yourself inside with all your toilet paper, all your food, alone, and reflect on that. Reflect on the fact that you're alone, that you'll be alone for a very long time. Before we jump into the reviews, I just want to say that Bloodshot is going to have a very special place in my heart because I kind of risked everything going out there, and I did so because I knew that even though the theaters might not be packed, all my fans and my loved ones would be there to support me. Our first review comes from Common Sense Media. Bloodshot, a good sci-fi idea thwarted by dull, violent filmmaking. 2 out of 5. The Parent's Guide to What's in This Movie. Violence, 4 out of 5. Drinking, drugs, and smoking, 1 out of 5. So already I'm a little confused. I don't know if you should be ranking high on these things or not. Is the presence of consumerism good or the absence of consumerism good or bad? I don't know. I don't know what this means. I don't know what any of this means. It says no positive messages present. Well, I think it shows that if you're some buff dude, you can make an action film, and that's a really positive message in my book. Parents need to know that Bloodshot is a sci-fi action movie based on a comic book about a soldier who's given superpowers and uses them to avenge his wife's death. But I like that. I like that it actually gives you a quick synopsis. It's about a soldier. It's about vengeance, right? That really is what the movie is about. It's all about vengeance. And I like that it starts with that. Even though it has all those weird scores, it does get to the point. And then it actually goes right into the story. Soldier Ray Garrison, Vin Diesel, is on a mission in Kenya, where he rescues a hostage and kills a terrorist. Later, he's kidnapped and a man named Martin Axe kills Ray's wife. Ray wakes up to discover that Dr. Emil Harding, played by Guy Pearce, has brought him back to life using microbiotechnology and turned him into a super soldier. Will he remember what's going on the next time he's rebooted? The beginning has a 1-sentence synopsis of the film, Vengeance, and then it gets into a real good breakdown of the story itself without spoiling anything. Everything he's mentioned here is in the trailer. And so I think this is great. And then it's going to get into, is it any good? So wow, I really like how this is broken down. A pretty good sci-fi plot idea is mostly ruined by mindless action sequences, vacant characters, and a need to completely wring the life out of whatever cleverness the movie might once have had. It could have really been something. And what he says here, I wholeheartedly agree. I think it's a really awesome sci-fi premise. It seems kind of novel too, the way they're implementing it. It's very one-dimensional. They're just trying to get to the next action scene instead of exploring that theme a little bit. There is one sequence where Vin Diesel and Guy Pearce, where they're both actually acting and they're arguing, and the main thing is it's 2 different worldviews. Someone bringing complete order and someone saying, you don't know who I am. You can't just judge me, put me in a box. That should have been explored in the entire movie. That would have been really cool. And then you layer that with fight scenes and then you have a really good sci-fi, but they didn't. It's so top layer, doesn't even scratch the surface. It's just almost a throwaway line. And I was kind of disappointed because the premise seems really cool. The other thing is the fight scenes. There were some fight scenes. Obviously, there's a ton of action. That's also why I see it. That's also why I saw it, because I like action films, even dumb action films. But I think the problem with this one is it focused way too much on CGI. I'm not sure if it was meant to be a 3D film or not, but a lot of it was clearly filmed as if it was 3D, it's supposed to come out. I didn't see it in 3D. But also so much CGI, man. It's I don't know. I don't like it. Some stuff can be cool if you use it to modify certain things like that, but it just looks fake. It looks like a fake CGI. And I understand, because Bloodshot, he can do superhuman stuff and everything, right? But the fight scenes can still, you can still have real fight scenes and just punch someone and they just go flying somewhere. That would still be really cool, but the CGI was too much, especially for the final sequence. I was just meh. There was one thing where one of the bad guys, well, I don't want to spoil it, but there's one dude who has robotic arms. The first time that's used, the CGI there looks really good. It looks very believable. But then throughout the fight, as the fight keeps going and it just gets crazier and crazier, it looks pretty fake. So I agree with him. So overall, a good review. Our next review, Bloodshot review. Vin Diesel's superhero movie almost hits the mark. Bloodshot puts a surprisingly clever spin on the superhero origin story that's fun and funny, but Diesel's performance ultimately leaves it lacking. Very thorough intro. It highlights the story, the plot points, and the twist. It highlights the main characters. It lets you know what to expect going in. What I do find a little odd is they mentioned that the twist, you don't see it coming, but the trailer kind of gives it away. So, I mean, if you don't see the twist coming if you haven't seen the trailer, but I think most people would have seen the trailer itself, so I'm not sure where they're coming from when it comes to that. Much of the unevenness in Bloodshot arises from Diesel's performance, which walks the line between intentional action hero stoicism and unintentionally wooden. If he would have started wooden and then slowly gotten more emotion as the film went on, that would have been awesome. Because then he's like growing as a character. Like that would have been really cool actually, because he's breaking away from that. He's like, no, it's like, that's not what I wanted. Like you brought me back under a false premise, under what you think I am, right? That should have been the main struggle there, but it wasn't. Diesel's acting could have been a lot better, but I think the writing needed to be improved and the directing needed to be improved. They don't explore the premise itself, right? Like, 'cause it sounds pretty cool. It's like this guy, they wipe his memory, they make him think someone else killed his wife. This is all in the trailer. And then they send him out on other missions. I won't tell you why they're killing those people, and they do explain that, luckily. But that's the basic premise. They keep sending. He's a killing machine. He doesn't realize he's an assassin. That's a crazy thing, which is pretty cool. He's like a Manchurian candidate, right? They activate him with a song. He knows where to go. He does his thing. But they don't really explore it, and it's just for the action scenes. And what I also don't like is like everything seems so shoehorned in. Like, oh, we can reverse the nanotechnology. I'm a coding genius. We can do that just out of nowhere. There's too many Deus Ex Machinas, right? Even at there's this problem with like the things overheating, right? The little nanotechnology things overheating. That gets resolved by just a line by like, oh, we figured that out. It doesn't matter anymore. And it's like, well, then why even bring it up in the first place? Like, why even add it to the script? Like, that could have been key to it. That could have been really cool. It's like, as he's growing as a character, he can control that, or like, that starts to mess with him somehow, or like, no, but it never plays any important part in the film. Like, in the end, yes, it's supposed to set up some drama, but like, it doesn't, and it's just like, oh man, it really falls flat. It's so generic, though. Like I said, it's not bad. You won't be amazed, but you won't be disappointed either, so it's very middle of the road. Again, Diesel's acting doesn't help, but I do disagree with them. I don't think that was the main problem. The main problem was the writing and the directing in this. Bloodshot review, Escape to the Movies.
We come to these things for the action scenes, of course, and particularly the three big Bloodshot versus everybody blowouts for showing off his abilities are all decently satisfying in the non-ultra memorable kind of way. Again, you've seen most of this before, just not all together at the same time.
I barely remember any of the fight scenes. The one thing I do remember is there's a scene when he first realizes he has powers and he punches this column really hard, which I believe is a reference to a film I made where I had my character punch a column. And so I think they were inspired by me, so I do give them props for that. Overall, I think a good review. It's short, gets to the point, breaks it down perfectly, lets you know all the details first, then gives you his thoughts. And I like what he says. I like it. That's the big problem. I think everyone sees it. It's very, very middle of the road. The only thing I disagree with is the action. Again, I just don't like CGI that much. Like, I think if you use it a little bit, or if you're trying to do something really cool or something, I guess that's fine. But I'd rather just have an actual fight scene, right? Like you're fighting with someone. But good review. If you have nothing to do, definitely go see it. The supporting cast was overall good. I think that's where most of the emotion comes from. There's a lot of jokes in there. It's not a comedy, but there are a lot of jokes in there. Some of them work, some of them don't. Again, humor is really subjective. The one dude they have, he's the British guy they have as the comedic relief. I think he's pretty good for the most part. Did really well with the material that he had. I think most of the supporting role did really well with the material he had. The bad guy, not Guy Pearce, but there's another bad guy who's just like, I'm a bad guy the entire time. Very one-dimensional. I'm like, which I guess it's fine for this film, but it's like, I don't really know why he's bad. I don't really know why he hates Vin Diesel's character. He's just like, I'm the bad guy now. I'm like, okay, whatever. But, that was good. There were like 2 or 3 scenes. Man, if they would have explored that a little bit more, it would have been really cool. Like just the theme of him not being boxed in. Also the theme of his relationship with his wife. That gets explored a little bit more than I thought, but I wish it would have dove deep because I'll just say that there's a scene where he tracks down his wife. And that interaction, man, that could have been something else. I was like, whoa, I did not expect that. That was actually really cool how they did. Well, not cool, but I was like, this is actually like almost a legitimate film. Like this scene right here with their interactions, and you realize what's actually been happening. So I had a little moment. I think that's what's a little bit frustrating about this, is that it's so generic when it didn't have to be. Like, it could have explored so many things, and man, just the action could have been so much tighter. It could have been just a little bit more tighter. Less CGI, that's what I say. Let people get hurt, let Vin Diesel get hurt. He can take it. He's built. That's what he's built for. He can take those shots. When you have something like this that's middle of the road, the reviews are going to be good, but they're all saying the same thing, right? It's middle of the road, so it's like not much to work on. At least the ones I saw at this point, if I would have read those before, I would have known, maybe I should wait. Maybe I don't risk getting myself infected or infecting everyone else.